Hello everybody, I'm Corey Mitchell with TradeThatSwing.com, and this is your swing trading stock market outlook for the week of July 15th. Each week I go through the same process, just deciding how aggressively I'm going to be deploying capital, how market conditions are. If you're ever wondering where this page is, it is updated each week. You can see I have the old one here, and I'm just about to update it once I upload this video, so it's always freshly updated each week. You can go to the stocks section, and it's under stock market analysis and trades, and you'll always be able to find it there, the most recent version. There's lots of links in here if you want to check out. So the first kind of links you could check out are some of the watch lists that are currently in play right now. So there's some of those. Some decent looking setups. Conditions have improved and moved into good territory. So there are some good looking stocks on this best swing trading stocks watch list for July. And this will get updated kind of early in the week, so might want to check that one out, and then also the new list that comes out in a few days. So how are the indices doing? I like to look at several different indices just to give myself a bit of a broader perspective as opposed to just looking at one. I have a few different indices, and they each look at different things. We have the NASDAQ 100, the S&P 500, the large caps. NASDAQ 100 a little more technology based. The NYSE composite, very broad measure, all different types of companies, different sizes. And the Russell 2000, essentially of the largest 3,000 companies in the US, it is the smallest of those largest 3,000. So generally considered smaller cap stocks, but there's 2,000 of them, a very big segment of the market. And we can see, had the NASDAQ and S&P have been running higher pretty much the whole time with it. Hasn't really changed much in recent weeks. We've been talking about the move up. But these other indices were not confirming that. They were actually, lagging behind quite a bit. And that changed last week. We got really big movements up in lots of different stocks. And interestingly, the S&P 500 kind of stuttered. The NASDAQ 100 kind of stuttered a little bit, but these other ones really took off. So, summarizing, basically everything in uptrending behavior at the moment, right? We have the Russell moving to new highs. We have the NYSE composite moving to new highs. NASDAQ very near its highs. S&P very near its highs. So everything in uptrend. Even the Canadian index also moved to new highs. Quickly on Bitcoin, this is a weekly chart. These other ones are dailies. The gold, also a weekly chart. So Bitcoin, I just wanted to kind of show this overall move, and this has happened on a number of occasions, even on this rally, where we get about a 20% decline, a move up, we kind of get right back to those lows and we start moving up. So who knows if that's going to happen this time, but it's at least an intriguing trade opportunity. And yeah, if we start moving back up, we have the potential for that breakout of the upside of the range as well. The gold miners ETF, very strong last week, and you see it's still below its 2022 high, but more recently it has moved above its high from earlier in the year, whereas gold just moving up toward that high. I actually do like to see the gold miners acting stronger, and they are acting stronger right now, so that does bode well for the overall sector. We've talked in recent weeks about how this is so choppy, though. Like, this is a weekly chart, but on the daily, it's just an absolute, mess, just kind of whipsawing back and forth. So I haven't loved it, but we are moving up. Gold's kind of moving up toward the top of this little range. Similar, a little bit smaller context than Bitcoin, but, we kind of had that little move back toward the lows, had the move up. And so I like it more now, and basically if I see gold stocks that I like, I would be willing to take those trades, or setups in gold stocks that I like. This is basically looking under the hood of how the market is doing. as you know, not just looking at the index. I do have the index up here, the S&P 500. You can see this nice climb. Volume not really important to me at the moment. This first indicator is the daily percentage change of the S&P 500, and really what I'm looking for is just big downside values, 2% or more. We have not had any in a very long time. Big downside movement on a single day, when it occurs, is an instant warning sign that big selling is coming in, and I tend to not take any new trades, become much more cautious. But we haven't had that. This is bull market behavior. Bull market behavior is characterized by lower volatility. We don't get those big downside days, and we haven't had any. So that's good. This is the NYSE advanced decline line, advancing stocks minus declining stocks as a cumulative number, and it is trending up along with the S&P 500 recently. Before it was not, and that's when we had the NYSE composite and the Russell 2000 just kind of chopping along sideways, very choppy, lots of stocks not participating in the rally, but we are starting to see more participating. This is up volume divided by total volume. I just have a neutral face on it because we have not had any extreme values. I'm looking for these lines should be touching either the upper black line or the lower black line to show extreme volume in stocks moving up or stocks moving down, and we don't have that. This one had a drastic change last week. You know, you can see the last few days of the S&P 500 pretty flat, but this, because of these, you know, big moves we had in the smaller cap stocks in the NYSE composite, broad range of stocks, this really moved up. So we were hugging right around that 50 line, and what this indicator is telling us is how the percentage of stocks above their 50-day moving average. So the red is the S&P 500. What is the percentage of S&P 500 stocks above their 50-day? You can see it's close to 69% now. This was like well below 50 last week, and 63% of all U.S. stocks are above their 50-day moving average. And again, this one was down near 40% last week. So a big drastic change in stocks trading above their moving averages. And not that the 50-day moving average is anything magical, but it is a crude measure of whether stocks are basically in a short-term uptrend or not. So yeah, I generally find results are much better when, you know, we're up above the 50, and especially when we're moving up through the 50. So yeah, those are all looking pretty good. And then finally, I haven't been taking a ton of swing trades lately. I do like some setups out there right now, but yeah, I do like the feedback from my own trades to let me know how aggressive I should be. If I'm just losing money and I don't seem to be finding good things, I should not be pressing the gas. And if I am trading well and I'm picking good stocks and I'm getting returns and conditions are good, then I'll keep pushing. I'm not going to push any harder, but I'll keep pushing. Sectors on the move. Last week, real estate really strong. Utilities up there. I don't usually care about utilities. We talked about utilities a few weeks ago. When they're really strong, when the market's really strong, that makes me a little skeptical, because we talked about this, and utilities were really strong, and they're kind of a, how would you say it, like kind of a defensive sector. And so we talked about utilities being really strong, and then we went into like a pretty long sideways period on Russell 2000 and the NYSE composite. Yes, there were some big caps that were moving up and moving well. So the S&P 500 and NASDAQ appeared to be doing well, but most stocks were not participating in that. And now they had a good week last week, but we'll just leave it at that for right now. Not going to dig too much into that because I don't think it's too much of a cause for concern at the moment, just one strong week. But real estate really doing well over the last week, the last month, coming out of, decent on the 3-month as well. So that's a good one. And then technology. Technology wasn't as strong last week, but it's the top performer over the last month and the last 3 months. Really bigger gains there.